Yeah, on a
The Desmond.
The Desmond.
On a more somber note, we probably just got to get this out. We have to spare a thought and send our prayers and well wishes to the people of Plymouth, who obviously this week went through one of the most disgusting, high-profile mass shootings that the UK has actually seen in its history. Similar to Dunblane, similar to Hungerford, similar to the more recent one with that guy in Cumbria, right, near Newcastle, wherever it was. This lad, Jake Davison, essentially went on a rampage and killed 5 people, including I believe, a 3-year-old kid and her father. He killed his own mother and 2 other people. It's horrible news that we have to cover. We're a news podcast. This guy, this troubled young man, I'm not sure if you man have heard of incels.
I've never heard of that.
What are they called?
Involuntary celibates.
Involuntary celibates. Now,
Okay.
It's
yeah,
mad chat.
it's
Tell me more.
Very mad chat.
So, background. This guy was known on the internet, or had somewhat of a profile on the internet. And we're not going to stay on this for too long. Had somewhat of a profile on the internet for uploading videos where he was essentially getting more and more manic and upset about the way his life was going.
Okay.
I didn't make much of that because the incel thing is a new phenomenon for me. But apparently this is part of a much wider movement, which is basically online. It's a subculture online that has a community of men
Okay.
who, they're essentially men who feel vengeful towards women because they fail to forge sexual relationships with them.
Vengeful.
They're convinced that they are the victims of society and that society is rigged in favor of women and is against men. But in that is their inability to attract women that they link to their overall success as humans. So they develop this really, really odd hatred, and they come together and they speak about it. The sickest thing that I read this week about this lad is that in these forums online, there were incels, fellow incels, that were disappointed in what they called this lad's score. So they gave him a score, which is essentially the number of people that he killed. And they said they were disappointed that it wasn't higher. So we're not talking about very normal.
So this was discussed.
People.
So
Yeah.
Or they,
So post-
like they were talking about like him going on the shooting spree.
So I don't know if it happened. I don't know if they were leading up to it, but in the aftermath of it, these forums, people were like, his score, given what we stand for, should have been higher. He should have killed more people.
So it's
for
not
this subculture.
in this subculture.
Yeah.
So it's not a very long bridge between the two sides of the river that separates kind of online white supremacist culture and this online incel culture. So the online incel culture is driven by a sense of male supremacy.
Okay.
Whose followers often share characteristics of white supremacy, in that there's plenty of recorded evidence that a Venn diagram overlaps quite strongly between these two online subcultures. So this is the first instance of a killing like this in this country. I've not particularly been following this story because I've been abroad, but you might remember at the beginning of last year, early 2020, there was a bloke in Canada who did the same thing. There was a mass shooting in Canada who was an incel, and he said that it was him. And it's a similar type. So when you were talking about the discussion online, that the guy in New Zealand who killed a bunch of people last year.
Are they all murder suicides? These men? Do they all take them? Like, is it
So
part, is the subculture thing? The whole thing is you take your life at the end.
No, that's not.
Right.
The guy in Canada, I think, got done by coppers. Can't quite remember, but that was definitely a thing. And basically, the idea is that these type of events are discussed and, if possible, live streamed and broadcast, like the killer in New Zealand who shot up a bunch of Muslim people at the end of last year. The basis of this incel shtick, as you said, is basically that these men blame society or blame society's norms or blame women for their unattractiveness. They don't see it as their fault or any deficiency on their part that women don't want to sleep with them, and that manifests itself in deep rage and deep anger against the society and against women who are the root cause of their insecurities. And this is why I revile people such as Jordan Peterson, whose shtick about society and the structures of society being rigged against men and all that kind of shite leads people down this rabbit hole. So he's very much a public face and an easily accessible root into this type of ideology. I think it's sick. I think it's very, very fucked. It's unfortunate that this subculture is gaining more prevalence, but it is a very dangerous and very attractive one. I was shocked.
Why do you think it's gaining more prevalence?
Because it's a very.
So the subculture is essentially. Sorry, because I don't understand this stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not unfamiliar with it. So the subculture is basically guys who are angry
At women.
that women don't find them attractive.
Yeah.
Correct,
So
basically.
for background, Incel began around the turn of the millennium after being set up by a gay woman to offer online support to those struggling to find love, and so technically involuntarily celibate.
Okay.
By 2012, the group had been taken over by men who felt their right to have sex with women was being wrongfully denied, in part due to genetic determinism.
What's that?
Who knows?
That could be interesting.
So this a lot of this is Jordan Peterson's shtick about not being desirable, not having desirable
I've heard a lot of his
characteristics.
I've never heard this.
People
before.
who believe like their masculinity is under threat because of the way the world is going, and that the common enemy is females.
Cultural Marxism is destroying the role of traditional males in the family, etc., etc. And you're now persecuted if you want to be a traditional male and have a family and women and not have an obedient woman. It's a bad thing to have an obedient woman in your life, etc., etc.
And I don't know how they've got these stats, but they reckon there are hundreds of thousands of these incels around the world.
Yeah.
But like 2,000 in the UK.
Yeah, it's relatively violent.
I don't know if that goes on the
it's also-
census.
It's a Discord chat.
It's also it's an attractive ideology. I was shocked. I was listening to LBC in the cab on the way home, and so I make the distinction I make the association between white supremacy and male supremacy, because you can understand why white people in this country end up as racist, because they believe that foreigners come here and take their jobs, and so the reason I don't have a job is because it's all these foreigners and people of color who come here and take my shit. It's a very easy way, a very attractive way of you not having any sex or having women who find you attractive by saying, well, just like it's the foreigners taking jobs, it's women's fault that I'm not getting any. And then it's the same base level attraction and deflection of blame and responsibility, or wider issues that lead people down this male supremacy hole as leading down the white supremacy one.
And you mentioned the Canada guy, which I actually didn't know, but there was a case in 2015, a chap called Ben Moynihan, who was 18 at the time, who was jailed for 21 years for attempting to murder 3 women as they walked home alone. He wanted revenge for being unable to lose his virginity because he couldn't find a girlfriend.
How old is he?
He was 18. Insert toxic comment now.
No, I was just thinking 18's young, right?
Oh,
no,
damn,
no,
man.
Yeah,
Tommy,
yeah, no, because,
come on, man.
Like, he's ambitious at
Go
18.
to a brothel, buddy.
I was like, at 18,
just
it's
go down.
ambitious.
Go
Yeah,
down, bro.
I mean,
it's
just go to
ambitious of him
Amsterdam.
to be vexed,
Fucking
to
hell.
be this angry at 18.
It's
crazy,
you know
bro.
what I mean? Like, if he was like a 30-year-old man
Yeah.
who was vexed, then you're like, all right, maybe some insert banter, right?
Yeah.
But at 18, this guy's obviously just a
Yeah, if you want something meaningful, I understand why you wouldn't go to like the old Nag's Head on Aldgate. But you know, if it's just you want
Drop
to
the
lose,
pin.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, exactly.
Can you send me that one on Google?
Yeah, I will.
Just,
But if it's just wanting to lose your virginity, bloody hell, bruv. Like, do you have to go about it this way?
it's
But anyway, it's pretty crazy. It's a subculture. It doesn't seem like a lot, 2,000 people in the UK, but there are, as I said, 100,000 people or hundreds of thousands of people around the world who seemingly are buying into this very dangerous ideology.
This guy had a fucking gun license as well.
Yeah, which was
Pretty
taken off
fucking
him
mad.
and then given back to him in I mean, I can't really explain how that went
Fuck
down.
knows.
One thing that we
But,
should be grateful for, though, and happy about, is that this kind of shit doesn't go down that often here, right?
Yeah.
You see this happening every day in the States.
Yeah, that's-
once, twice a week, there'll be gun violence that kills more than 3 people.
You make a really, really good point there, because one of the things that I was reading into on this as well is that unlike the US, every single time one of these mass shootings has happened, Hungerford, Dunblane, as I mentioned before, has always been followed immediately by tightening of gun laws. So I think Hungerford was automatic rifles or automatic guns out of here. I think Dunblane was like, I think after Dunblane happened, they outlawed handguns. Every single time one of these mass murderings has happened, there has been changes to the law, which obviously we can't say the same for the US because they have literally,
as well, right?
So you're right. It doesn't happen here.
So
as
we should be grateful
much,
about
So
that.
we are grateful for that.
The other
but
thing about this
one
story that's
time
crazy-
is too many, right?
The other thing about this story that's crazy is like the number of guns that are out. I didn't actually realize. So the stat was the whatever police department, Devon Satin, that gave him back his his license, issued 10,000 permits last year.
What the
Yikes.
fuck?
Yeah.
10,000 permits?
Yeah.
Well, most of those would be farmers.
They're
down in
all
Devon,
farmers,
right? Yeah.
basically. They're all
Right,
going to be
okay.
people who need shotguns and
Yeah,
rah, 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 and they're in rural places. The council, police council, whatever,
Sure.
the constabulary.
Constabulary.
Those
Is that
guys
to like
aren't-
shoot badges and stuff.
Yeah, that kind
Foxes.
of shit. Fox,
And-
whatever. But it's non-urban environment
Jesus.
licenses, basically. But these there are guns out there.
Yeah,
There
there's
are.
quite a lot.
I think I missed it, but like, yeah, there are guns.
I
out
said, and
there. Oh yes, yeah, not here. That's exclusively reserved for stateside action at the moment.
I'm not sure.
It is pretty. I'm pretty sure. No.
Oh, I
Everything
thought I
here
was,
is-
thought I was shooting a
shank,
badger.
man.
Oh, they're the same color.
Yeah.
Wearing that t-shirt.
Here we're shanking, man, innit?
Yeah, yeah,
We
yeah.
haven't graduated to the weapon
Yeah.
of American choice.
But yeah, man, chillingly, and I'll end on this, man. Like, obviously, sending love to Plymouth and the people of Plymouth, Devon, surrounding areas who are going through it, the people who have lost someone. Thinking about the mum, man. Like, imagine giving birth to your killer. Fucking wild, isn't it?
It's a mad one.
It's absolutely fucking wild.
Fuck the incels.
Bone chilling.
There'll be more information that comes out about this because there must be like, in all cases where someone starts off by killing their family, there must be more to it, right?
He's just unhinged. He's a vulnerable insult, dude.
Yeah, in a number of his many YouTube videos, he was disrespecting his mum quite a bit. He said that she was, he said some very, very insulting things about the way that she raised him and the way that she is and so on and so forth. So there was no love lost from that perspective. But again, come on.